Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Christian, and today I'm bringing you guys the first flight review of the 2020 Ricky Wysocki Glow Pig. So I've been looking for a good forehand overstable approach disc, and excuses, sorry about the little bit of wind noise. This is the only day that it's been fairly sunny, and of course it's windy, so I'm gonna apologize for that. But you can't really control that. But I've been looking for a couple years for like the perfect forehand upshot and approach disc, and I haven't really found it. I've tried different discs from all different brands, and I just finally got to the point that I just didn't think I'd ever find the right disc specifically for me. It seems like every time I'd start to like something, it wouldn't end up clicking with me. So I just kind of gave up and started forcing my gator into that shot, but I knew that wasn't working, and I just kind of gave up on finding the right disc until one day I finally figured out, hold on, the best forehand putter approach player, in the world, when he switched to Innova, he started throwing the Pig. So I went out on a limb. I was like, you know what? I've already spent so much money, trying other discs and things like that. I might as well try the one that the two-time world champion throws, and I love it. So I immediately grabbed a few of them, and now I'm here to bring it to you guys for a first flight review. So kind of just feeling on the hand. This specific run, this is the, like I said, this is the R Pro Glow plastic, and this right here is very flat top, and I'll throw up some, I'll put up some like profile pictures and up close pictures or something like that, probably up in this corner at some point when I'm editing. But it's very, very flat. It feels good. The plastic is really soft, which I love, because it's gonna grip. It's not gonna have a ton of ground action. It's gonna lay down where it hits and not really do anything else. But it's very, very flat, which I really like, both for forehand and backhand. The grip is shallow. It's kind of, it's not really a deep dish putter or anything like that. So it doesn't feel as comfortable in the backhands, just because it's a shallow disc. But for forehands, it actually feels super, super comfortable, which is what I was really going for. I was kind of worried about the thumb track there, but the more I throw it, the more I'm just kind of like, it actually feels really comfortable in the hand, and I'm not having any issues with it like I did with the Rhino. And I think the Rhino was the combination of the thumb track and the bead on it, and which is why I ended up not liking it. And it's overall shallower than the AVRX3, which is what I was throwing for a while. So, in the hand, very comfortable. It releases clean. It's beadless, so it really comes out on that backhand and forehand very clean out of the hand. Very nice, crisp release. I'm not getting a ton of flutter out of it when I throw it forehand or backhand, which is amazing. But it doesn't really have that much glide to it, which I'll show you here in a minute. But, it's nice, easy to control the distance, because it doesn't want to fly very far. So if you know that you've got, a basket only so far away that, you're not going to overshoot it, it only really goes about as far as you push it. It doesn't really like to glide or float past that. But enough of hearing about me, just talk about it and what I think. Let's see how it flies. So I've got two of them right here, and I'm just going to be throwing them on a variety of different angles, forehand and backhand, whether it be Hyzer flat or Anhyzer release, to see how they go. From right here, I've got a little bit of it'll be kind of like a left to right tailwind. So releasing on an Anhyzer, you're probably going to see it fly a little bit further and maybe flex a little later, because it's going to get that little bit of a push and carry. And then on the Hyzer shot, it might push it down just a little bit more, but just kind of bear that in mind. So, like I said, this is what I wanted for a perfect forehand approach shot disc, and possibly like a headwind putter. And we'll get it over on the basket and hit some putts with it and see kind of how it flies as an actual putter versus a throwing putter, and we'll compare it all. But first, let's see about getting these on a couple forehand lines. Like I said, that's what I got it for, so let's see how it flies. And for note, these are both they're both 175 weights. So let's just kind of put it out there. I'm just gonna kind of put it out there on a forehand just what I would consider like my comfortable stock release on a forehand, which is going to be kind of a lower release. I'm not really going to try to get a ton of air under it, but releasing it with a decent amount of hyzer. So let's see how it flies. You can see it. I'm just going to try to put it right out on line with that red barn out there, and we'll see how much it deviates left and right. Alright, so I pulled that a little bit left and left it a little high. That's on me. I haven't really warmed up. That was the first shot cold out of the car, so that's my fault. But let's see here, see if we can get it back. And it looks like I'm releasing a little high. But, you know, they come out of the hand clean. I'm going to go get those, and we'll get a few more shots in and see kind of how it flies. Alright, both of those shots went about, I don't know, anywhere between 175 and 225, somewhere around there. Probably right about the 200-foot mark. Didn't really measure it out, not really worried about that right now. Let's see how they fly on just a forehand flat release. I'm just going to do standstills, that way I kind of get the best, you know, consistent release and throw every single time. So I'm just going to try these on a flat release. Going to try to keep them level, not try to get them up. The wind's kind of wanting to pick them up a little bit, but we'll see how it flies with that. So. Alright, I released the second one with just a touch of Anhyzer, kind of accidentally, but the first one came out nice and clean and flew pretty well flat with a little bit of fade and finish at the end. The second one kind of finished a little straight, but that's because I put a little Anhyzer on it. So we'll get them back and we'll throw them on Hyzers. Alright, both of those flew pretty well and probably about 210 feet average from what I paced out. So we'll give these ones a shot with a little bit of Hyzer. Alright, so those both flew really, really well on a forehand, released clean, kind of got pushed a little right by the wind. The wind's pretty well shifted just straight left and right, so let's get these on an Anhyzer. And for the Anhyzer shot, I'm going to throw two different shots. I'm going to kind of throw one lower to see if it holds the Anhyzer over, and then I'm going to throw one kind of high a little bit to see if it's going to stall out and come back at the end. So we'll check the difference between those two flights on the same disc. Okay, that was my fault. It was a terrible shot, paired with terrible wind for that. I should have known that throwing a, turnover forehand shot in a left to right wind, it was going to push it straight to the ground. Should have known that, but it kind of behaves exactly like I thought it would. But we'll try a little higher shot. There it is. Okay. All right, so that actually got pushed down a little bit, and train coming. It got pushed down a little bit, and it did pan and start to come back, but it kind of just stalled and kind of fell with a little bit of right movement at the very end. So we'll get these back and we'll try it on some backhands. All right, so forehands, they fly pretty well, just like I want, and just like I've kind of really wanted a forehand approach disc to fly. It's exactly how I imagined it to. So let's get to the backhands. And the backhands is where I simultaneously was the most surprised and the most worried about this disc, honestly, with that thumb track. I didn't know how it would come out of the hand on a backhand. And I messed around with sorry about the shaky camera. The wind's actually starting to pick up a little bit. I messed around with the Rhino for a while, and I knew that it just never came out of the hand backhand. All right, forehand flew great, flew just what I wanted, but I couldn't backhand it, and I never like having two different discs that do the same thing, but one specific for backhand and one specific for forehand. So I really wanted to have something that I could do both. So this is where I was the most worried about having this disc, and that was the backhands. You know, I was worried about it coming out weird, not coming out right at all. So I was really worried, but then also really surprised whenever I did finally get them in and start trying them out. So, well, we'll let you guys see. So we'll go with a couple Hyzer shots real quick, and like I said, I'll put them out toward the barn a little bit, and I'll try to step out of the way and let you guys kind of see how they fly. So. All right, that got a little bit of ground action, not a lot. I think it was a little more wind kind of pushed it back up than anything, but it kind of went about 5 feet past where it hit. But that good grippy R-Pro plastic is pretty well keeping it glued to the ground. So let's hit another one. All right, now that one kind of came out of my hand a little weird, kind of held onto it just a touch too long, but the wind kind of pushed it over, but it never flipped over. It kind of got up to flat a little bit, but never actually flipped and let the wind carry it. So, you know, that's nice. It feels like it's going to be a good wind fighting disc. Let's go get them, and then we'll try them on a flat release. All right, so let's try these on a flat release. We're still getting the same basic, just straight left to right crosswind. So we'll try these on just flat release. I expect the wind to kind of take them a little back, you know, toward the right. Like I said, I'll probably put them out a little left of that red barn out there, and then try to make sure I'm out of the shot that way you guys can see. Alright, so I ended up releasing that one just a touch of Hyzer still, but we'll see if we can correct it real quick. You guys seen that one right there? It basically barely got the belly up on it, just a touch. Maybe drifted about 5 degrees right of center line, and then actually faded back at the end. So even with a pretty steady crosswind, it's not really getting hung up in the wind that much. So let's get them, and then we'll put them on some backhand turnover lines. All right, for the last of the just straight field testing, we will try to get these on a fair little turnover line. I'm gonna try to put them out, kind of over in this direction and move out of the way, that way you guys can see. But hopefully these things are going to carry to the right, but then fight back out at the very end. So, see how we do it. All right, that was actually a really good shot, really good pull. I'm going to see if I can put a little more turnover on this next one. Alright, well, those actually released very, very well on an Anhyzer. Very clean out of the hand. It kind of took a flat release, but then as I kind of turned it over on the release, it just kind of continued that turnover right out of the hand. Kind of held it real good, real smooth, and slowly, and it panned back out at the end, which is exactly what I'm wanting for this disc. So we'll go get those, and then we'll go over here to the basket and see how it performs as a putter. And I'll pace these ones out, see just how far those went. I don't expect them to go very much over 300 feet. They don't like to go very far, but we'll see how far they went, and then we'll hit some putts with it. All right, those last two shots, the Anhyzer shots, they flexed out to about between 310 and 315, somewhere in that ballpark, which is actually a little further than I expected them to go, but given the conditions and everything, it makes sense. So let's actually see how they do good on a basket. Wind's really starting to pick up now. But anyway, they feel good and everything kind of in the hand throwing. But another reason I kind of wanted a little more overstable, low profile, little less glide putter was just in case I was faced with the, headwind putt from, 25 feet or something like that, something that I can get kind of to cut through the wind instead of floating away like my AVRs sometimes tend to do. So let's see how they go. I'm sitting between 25 and 30, somewhere around there right now on this basket, and I've got a pretty well straight tailwind. And don't judge my putting right now. I haven't really been practice putting very much. I'm just kind of judging on how they are affected by the wind and how they release out of my hand. So as long as they feel good coming out of the hand and the wind isn't really pushing them everywhere, then I can always, fine tune my putting a little more later, which I'd need to do, but not really the focus as far as dead accurate putter right now. I just want to know if it's going to come out of the hand clean and if it's going to be really affected by the wind. So let's take a look. Alright, so I feel like I'm wanting to kind of pull them to the right just a touch. Let's see if I can adjust that. The tailwind was kind of pushing them down too. But they came out of the hand. It felt like they're coming out clean, and it's not getting immediately slammed down like other putters that I've used. So let's grab them, and I'll kind of leave you set up here. That way you can kind of see some different, reps from different angles and different winds and everything like that. I might fast forward this a little bit, in editing, but I'm gonna hit some putts on this, and then I'll come back and let you guys know how it feels. Well, alright, that was probably a good, decent handful of putts right there. As far as putts go, it doesn't feel the best. The thumb track for me is kind of a turn off as far as like just a go-to putter goes. But I think with just some occasional headwind putts or something like that, not having to use it very often at all, or if I've got a really kind of Hyzer putt around something, which I didn't try that. Let's give it a shot real quick. Okay, pretty well as I expected. As a Hyzer putter, it didn't really, it didn't feel bad at all as a Hyzer putt. Nice overstable putter. It's gonna draw back to the basket really well. So, but it's something like that, or maybe the occasional headwind putt, can't really complain. As a go-to putter, not my thing personally. It's beadless. It just don't feel right in the hand, and most of my misses were to the right, and I think it's because like that grip, it's kind of causing me to hold on to it just a little bit longer, and I wasn't really getting it, kind of the release point where I really want it, which is right straight forward at the basket. It just kind of held on a little bit longer, but that's personal. Some people actually really prefer that thumb track on putters. So as a putter, not really for me. But as an all-around good overstable approach disc, I think this right here is going pretty well straight in the bag. As kicking the AVR X3 and the harp and the zone and everything, completely out. Come on, wind, be nice. But anyway, keep an eye out for my next video on how to, kind of how I went about choosing this disc, specifically over like the AVR X3 and the harp and the tactic and zone, and things like that, over, how I chose the pig over all those as my go-to forehand approach disc. So we will, I'll be shooting up a video and posting it up pretty soon. Keep an eye out on that to, catch that when it comes down. But other than that, that's pretty well all I have for today. sun's starting to go down. I think I'm gonna get ready to head back home. I might hit up a few holes before I leave. Just a quick shout out at the end of the video for my my sponsor, Van Man Disc out of Huntington, West Virginia. Andy, you've been amazing to work with, and hopefully here's to many more years of that partnership to go. And my partner for, at least for this year and hopefully for the foreseeable future, is the Coldest Water. And check out the link in my description to go over there, use the code DISC, D-I-S-C, to save 10% on your entire order. And let me know how you guys like it. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Ring that notification bell, that way you know every time I drop a new release. Get ready, 2021, I'm hoping to be dropping some awesome videos, and very often too. So hopefully be getting more of those out very, very soon, and actually continue the trend all year, and hopefully make this my biggest disc golf year yet. So everybody, stay safe out there. Until the next time, I'll see you guys around.